You know the feeling. You buy a fresh planner, map out a highly ambitious routine, and vividly imagine the new, productive version of yourself. But the moment it's actually time to do the work, all that energy mysteriously vanishes. Centuries ago, in feudal Japan, there was a young samurai named Yuki who suffered from this exact problem. He spent hours studying famous battles and memorizing advanced strategies, yet always found a convenient excuse to avoid the dojo. His massive ambitions didn't make him a better warrior, they paralyzed him. By constantly visualizing a perfect future, he created an impossibly wide gap between what he wanted and what he was actually willing to endure on a Tuesday morning. Talking about your goals and organizing your plans tricks your brain. It releases chemical rewards for work that hasn't happened yet, transforming your preparation into a sophisticated form of procrastination. We've been conditioned to believe in a specific sequence of events. First, you feel a spark of motivation, and then you take action. We sit around waiting for this magical feeling to arrive before we even attempt to begin. Imagine a traveler refusing to step out of their front door until the weather forecast is perfectly sunny for the entire length of a month-long journey. They would never leave. While you wait for your internal conditions to align, people with a fraction of your talent or ambition, but who are willing to walk in the rain, are quietly passing you by. When you insist on feeling ready before you start, you are handing total control of your future over to your fleeting, unpredictable emotions. Historical samurai didn't step onto the training floor because they woke up feeling incredibly inspired. They practiced because training was their baseline commitment to life. It was simply what they did. They relied on a psychological mechanism that upends modern productivity. Action can exist without prior emotional spark. It starts with the smallest, least intimidating physical step: opening a blank document, putting on running shoes. You force a micro-action purely to break the static friction. That forced movement immediately starts generating momentum. Once your body is in motion, your brain begins to catch up, and the resistance to continuing drops. This momentum produces energy, and that sudden rush of energy is exactly what our brains mislabel as motivation. Motivation behaves more like a flame that follows action than a spark that precedes it. We tend to picture the samurai through the lens of dramatic, colorful battles and heroic last stands. But the legendary swordsman Miyamoto Musashi built his unmatched skill through something far less glamorous: endless, mundane repetition. This is the principle of Kaizen no Mi, the way of small improvements. You don't climb a mountain by staring at the peak. You build mastery through quiet, steady rhythms rather than sudden bursts of manic energy. Imagine a student who feels entirely too tired to train, but commits to practicing a single basic sword form every morning. His peers might laugh at such a tiny, seemingly useless effort. But this micro-step strategy works because it strips away the overwhelming pressure of grand ambition. It bypasses your brain's emotional resistance, allowing the physical movement to eventually become automatic. Over time, that single repeated step compounds, carrying exponentially more power to shape your reality than the grandest plan you never execute. We need to redefine what strength actually looks like. It is not the ability to execute a flawless routine on the days you happen to feel rested and highly energized. The master teacher Yagyu Munenori put it perfectly. He said, "The sword that waits for perfect conditions never leaves its sheath." When we claim we need more motivation, what we are usually feeling is fear. We fear the physical discomfort of starting, the exhaustion of continuing, or the dread that our immediate efforts won't yield an immediate reward. Actual discipline is the act of moving through negative emotions. It requires acting when conditions are poor and inspiration is entirely absent. To break the cycle of laziness today, you have to completely stop trusting your feelings. They are fragile and entirely unpredictable. Place your trust in your habits and your structures instead. The next time you catch yourself waiting for the desire to work, remind yourself of the warrior's baseline. I am not controlled by my feelings. I am guided by my commitments.